Hello everybody, it's your boy N here. I'm coming at you guys with another YouTube video. So, Freyna for the Forbidden Sanctuary dungeon. So let's get on into it. Now, a few big disclaimers. This build is, I've done it in solo only, and because me and Apocalyptos were trying to speedrun with this build, we didn't bother making it very user friendly. And ideally in solo, you do want an ancestor mod to make it absolutely worthwhile time-wise. So I'm going to give you what I think the closest thing, or when we were testing it, the closest thing to the build without the Ancestor mod. So let's go with that. Starting off with the maneuvering module. Mid-air maneuvering is going to be your go-to, along with venom injection for your red module. This is specifically because you want the absolutely ridiculous damage when it comes to bossing. So yeah, this is what we are going to be going with. Next up, we do want to build some cooldown into this, because Freyna's 4th has a almost 2-minute cooldown, which is incredibly cooked. So let's go with cooldown on here right off the bat. We're going to go with MP conversion and nimble fingers, and then we're also going to go with one focus on, which is going to be focus on tech for Freyna, because we want good scaling and good damage in this dungeon. We're going to be going with power increase, which scales the best with higher tier content in the game. Now, with Freyna, there's quality control, so you want some range for sure. So we're going to go with expansion and amplification control, along with the amplification mods. So with toxic amplification and with tech amplification, and then we've gone with decimator to make our damage slightly better, along with overwhelming shield to basically pull all of this together. Now, if you were to make this more user-friendly, I could say putting increased shield on over decimator might be one of the calls that you'd want to do, something like that. But honestly, if you want the better damage with this setup, you want to be using crit. So I will talk about that a little bit later inside of the Ancestor mod segment of this video. But yeah, let's focus on this for now. So, trigger mod. For the trigger mod, what you are going to want to go with is going to be infected weapon. Now, with this, fairly simple. It affects your 1, your 3, and your 4. So that's what we're going to go with. Now let's have a look at the other parts of this Freyna build. For the reactor, you might be confused about the electric, but hear me out. Before we do that though, real quick, let me just slam the weapons in on this build, and we're just going to be using the secret garden as a stat stick. So that's going to be our main thing over here. And then, yeah, just the secret garden should be good. Then maybe the dais as well, if you really want to go in with the gameplay. So there you go. Now for the reactor, I went with an electric tech reactor. You could go with a cooldown tech reactor to help Freyna's abilities out a little bit more, but the main thing is use an electric reactor. If you didn't know, infected weapon has the same mechanic as wave eruption or storm bullet for Sharon, and it can just inherit element of your reactor. So you can do electric damage with Freyna's toxic abilities with this trigger mod. So you want to be using an electric reactor. Ideally, electric skill power boost and tech would give you the most damage output, so make sure you go with that. Now, for the external components, plague set as always. Now, I know you might be sitting here wondering why plague set if we're going with the electric. You can also use slayer set, and slayer set is better for damage, but again, I'll come back to that a little bit later. Now you'd want max HP, MP recovery out of combat, max MP recovery in combat, MP recovery modifier and defense and or electric resistance, and then max shield and shield recovery modifier. You want max HP across all of your cores for the maximum amount of survivability along with defense. Now for your arcade tuning, the arcade tuning is interesting. So what we are going to do is go with this. We're going to go to the right, then we're going to go all the way up to here. We're going to go right over here again, and then we're going to go up and make our way to putrid zone. This is going to give the toxic resistance increase per stack, so the mobs get less toxic resistance, but in trade you get less movement speed. So yeah, there you go. Next up, you're going to want to go down here to grab yourself some range, and then we're going to go all the way over here and we are going to grab ourselves defense neutralization. this is going to allow you to do some nice stripping with Freyna and nuke the mobs and the bosses this way. Now, let's have a look at the weapons and have a quick look at the inversions. Now, with the weapons, just the secret garden, you can go with 2 sprints and 1 grapple is best, I recommend. I've got 3 sprints on here, but you just want to shift it over to 1 grapple core. For the modules, this is what I've got on it, and then brisk walk being the main thing for your speed, so this is what you'd want to be running. Then the Deus, this isn't really necessary, I've just got it on here for the sake of having it on here, I guess. And then this is also what I am running on the Deus anyways, so yeah, there you go. Now for the inversions with Freyna, I've chosen the wrong ones here, so let me just quickly deactivate these and then I'll put the right ones on for you guys. We're going to start off with the MP over here with neural stacks, and then we're going to go with neural stimulation, and then we are also going to go with shield particle based off the defense, because we are using venom injection and it is a shield build with Freyna. This is what you are going to want to be going with. Now, let's talk about the Ancestor module and quite possibly the most important bit. Now, Ancestor mods make or break this build very, very hard and are the key to getting a good time. Ideally, you do want to go with something that will just do a ton of damage. So in this instance, I would go with this tech modifier one, replacing amp control, and then going in with that max tech is nice. Tech is a nice buff. I can't speak English anymore. Or ideally, I would want to go with this one because cooldown is more important. This is a non-crit build anyways, so the non-crit over there is going to work nicely. And with this, I have 22 seconds of cooldown. In the gameplay, you will see shortly, Apocalyptos will not have 22 seconds of cooldown. I lost a bet to Apocalyptos. We did run back and forth, and I said I'd show gameplay of whoever got the fastest time in the video. So Apocalyptos did beat me because he's cooked, but yeah, that's kind of it. Now, this is where I was going to mention the Slayer set along with crit. Crit is the superior setup on here, so 100% you want a red crit rate, a red crit damage with a harmless negative on Freyna, because you want to be building into crit. You'd also want to replace the amplification mods with the critical hit mods, so you would want to replace tech amplification with skill insight, and then you'd also want to replace tech amplification with emergency measures. And then with the red crit rate on Freyna, this will bring you up to almost 40 crit. And trust me when I say with this, ideally, the electric on here along with the crit from this, along with the Slayer set, specifically when using an Ancestor mod, will allow you to do significantly more damage when it comes to your abilities spreading everywhere. So this is what you would want to run ideally when you are running the crit variant with the Ancestor mod. So yeah, you can see over here my crit rate makes it to 23, but you can still get over your crit rate can go up to I think 300+%, 320, 330 on crit rate, so you can definitely get more out of this. But this is what I would recommend for Freyna, especially if you do have the Ancestor mod. If you don't have an Ancestor mod, just use the setup I just showed before. But yeah, now let's get a look at the gameplay. So this gameplay is provided by my homie Apocalyptos, shout out to him. As I did say, we were racing and speedrunning and I lost a bet, so he did end up winning and he got the gameplay instead of me. So let's have a look at how you play with Freyna. With Freyna, you want to go in and activate venom injection immediately, and then you just want to focus on spraying your 3 and your 2 around. Freyna does do DOT, so this is nice and easy. The gameplay scuffed, he says. And this is another big thing. You want to walk back towards the next objective, and you want to wait until the tyrant discharge or whatever the breach bollocks thing it is comes out of his bubble. Once he's out of his bubble with the defense neutralization and putrid proccing, you can just annihilate him with Freyna's 4th ability. And then over here again, you just basically vibe and let Freyna's toxic take over. With crit, this would be significantly better, and I can confirm that. I do have an entire separate video showing the entire concept of other elements on Freyna, so I'll link that in the top of the description, so make sure to go have a look at that as well. But yeah, I apologize about the quality because Apocalyptos is an Xbox player and he cooked me. But yeah, you can see here, even with that, the odd things like that can happen in this dungeon. I think they really need to make the spawns a little bit more tight together and stuff like that. So it will definitely help with time, especially in dungeons like this. Now, with this dungeon specifically, I would recommend running in a squad, to be honest. Running in a squad with a crit setup with the Luna is significantly faster, especially for the mobbing sections. And I do think just in general, this dungeon is significantly more fun when you do run it in a squad. This is where the cooldown would come into effect on an Ancestor mod very nicely, because if Apocalyptos had a nice cooldown on his Ancestor mod, he would be able to just slam his 4th ability and use it everywhere. The reason he doesn't do that is because his Ancestor mod that he was running in the gameplay does not have cooldown on it. Therefore, his cooldown is 50 seconds, so he doesn't like to use his 4th ability very much. But if you do have your cooldown on your Ancestor along with crit rate, cooldown crit rate with double reds would be honestly the best thing you can get. So yeah, something like that. Again, over here, he ran out. He's got a 50-second cooldown that he's got to do. So he's just letting the Toxic, just in general, do damage on the boss. If you do bring a backup weapon, something like a dagger or something, this would be where you would use it. So yeah, this bit Apocalyptos is just going to throw his Toxic down, and it's just basically a case of vibe out until the mobs come through, and then they just die inevitably. And it's just jumping around in this room for the most part, so it's fairly simplistic. Yeah, just average Freyna gameplay. The biggest part is honestly just making sure you never stop moving, because the moment you stop moving and the mobs get their hands on you, you're pretty much dead, especially with this, because you are not going to have very much HP with this setup, or sorry, very much shield with this setup specifically, so you can absolutely get cooked. Apocalyptos did stop to make the recording in 2 parts because Xbox is cooked, but yeah, there you go. Back into the gameplay. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? There you go, back into the gameplay. Technical difficulties. So again, it's just basically just running and jumping. Even MP isn't too much of a problem over here. Yeah, it's fairly simple. You guys can see what these guys are saying in the bottom corner of the screen with the Twitch chat. He's saying cooked. But yeah, just in general, this is how it works with Freyna. And honestly, this dungeon, the biggest thing about this dungeon is getting used to running it. You can run this dungeon fairly easily, and even without HP mods, which is kind of where myself and Apocalyptos are at right now, as after you've gotten used to the way that this dungeon works. So you definitely do want to go in and you know, take time and learn the way that this dungeon works, learn the spawns and learn how to survive the mobs. Alright, into the boss fight we go. Apocalyptos is making some decent time on the clock. There is pretty much just the final boss left. With this, he rolls and goes in with the 4th ability, and as you can see here, it just truly annihilates the boss. Giving it a second again over here, give it a second and the boss is gonna die to the Toxic. Nice and easy. And then you've got the 49-second cooldown. Now this would be where you would want to use a tactic called spawn reset, so you essentially take damage deliberately to die to get your 4th ability back. He's just running and letting the Toxic take care of the bubble, and you can see at this point there's still over 30 seconds left on the clock before he cools down his ability. So this would be where he just, you know, lets the boss punch him 2 times and then dies, specifically just to get that reset in. Now if you don't get the reset in, or if you do this without the reset strat, you just need cooldown on your Ancestor mod with crit rate, I'd say. Yeah, or just cooldown fusion, or sorry, cooldown tech and duration up for your Toxic, and there you go. Mission complete in 5 minutes 20 seconds. I'm going to highlight that time specifically because we had the mob at the beginning that wouldn't spawn in, then we had waiting for the boss and so on and so forth, so you can easily get this time sub 5 minutes without a problem. But that's basically pretty much everything you need to know about Freyna inside of this dungeon. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed. Shout out to Apocalyptos. He's my homie, and yeah, if you look at the drops, you got 3 Eugen drops as well, so if you use this Freyna build and manage to cook, you can get yourself 3 Eugen drops at a time. Yeah, that's pretty much been this video, guys. I I hope you've enjoyed. If you did, please smash that like button. Like I said, this is more of showing the build off versus everything else. So if you do replicate this, take it with a grain of salt. This will work very well in teams, especially with the Ancestor mod setup. If you get a buffing Luna with crits, you're going to go ridiculous when it comes to mobbing damage, and even bossing damage is ridiculous. You definitely want crit on Freyna, in my opinion. But yeah, that's everything. Smash that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!